and welcome to Step It Up Podcast. I'm Helene,
And I'm Penelope.
a mother-daughter duo, and we are thrilled today to welcome Ercell Ivanhoe. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I am so inspired by your story, and I just love if you could just tell us where you are in the world and how you came to be on the show.
Um, I am the recovering fat guy. And I would say that a few years ago I started a journey. I was over 400 pounds, and COVID came through and wiped out all of my fat friends. Everyone that was obese that got COVID is gone. Outside of one of my friends, one of my friends survived it. Everyone else wiped out. And about 7 people died. And so when it happened, that was my wake up call to really ask myself, am I really living my life to the fullest? Have I really maxed out the attempts to get healthy, or am I just convinced of a lie and living a lie? And that was the season where I realized I'm lying to myself, and there is more I can do to create a better life. So made some changes, made some very minor changes, and then started sharing my story. And through sharing my story, discovered there were other people trapped in the same lie, the lie of I can't, the lie I've tried everything, the lie that I've done it all. And through the sharing of my story, I've gotten to connect with a lot of people who have discovered what's possible when they just bet on themselves. So that's really why I'm here. I'm playing with house money, and I'm betting on myself, and it's been the biggest life change I've gotten to create. And I'm still 100 pounds away from my goal, so I'm in it still, and my goal is to really just show people that they have everything they need to make it happen, especially with their health.
Oh my God. I totally love you. I've only known you for like 3 minutes. And I'm
Right?
just
Aren't I
like,
incredible? Right?
I
Right?
mean,
Right?
you're like so my people. Oh, wow.
What a beautiful story.
Wow.
Thank
So
you. Thank you so much.
100 pounds to go. How many pounds have you lost then?
Right around 148ish, 149 in that range.
That's
Twins, I lost 140 pounds. I still have 20 more to go, but I
Come
feel
on.
you. It's a journey. It really
It is.
is.
Heck yeah.
yeah, and that's something I really wanted to dive in with you if you're willing to share with us the peaks and valleys of those 146 or 8 pounds you said. Because I know for Penelope, it's not really a straight line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for a lot of the people I've helped in the past, and even for myself, it hasn't been a straight line. It's ups and it's downs, and it's curves, and things that worked don't work anymore, and it's just constantly changing. Has that been your experience as well? These last 140 so pounds?
Completely. It started, well, just to give you backstory, I've done everything. I've done every diet that has been suggested. I've tried it. Um, I had a lap band surgery 12 years ago, and out ate the band where my stomach like literally re-stretched itself out. Like everything I'd attempted that was available, I tried. And coming to the season of COVID, the big discovery when we got locked down. In California, the NBA shut down, Disney closed, and within 24 hours, our governor was like, we're shut down. And going from being around the audience of people that I'd trained to support my bad lifestyle, I ended up completely by myself. And the real discovery of, man, I've been lying to myself hit hard. So 3 weeks into the lockdown, I'm suicidal. I'm plotting out my death. I've got the letter written. My birthday's at the end of March, and I'd planned to just take my life on my birthday to make it the most poetic ending. So my birthday comes, my business partner calls me and says, we're coming to get you. And I'm like, sorry, I've got plans today. He's like, what are you talking about? We're locked down. What are your plans? And my plan was to go do the hose in the exhaust pipe. It's one of the most effective methods when when you want to go out quick. And my goal was to smoke a bunch of weed, drink a bunch of alcohol, roll up the windows, turn on the car, and go to sleep. And they came and picked me up. They're like, if you don't come to our house, we're coming to get you. And that day I was like, all right, this is maybe my sign from God that I should not kill myself directly. So I just decided, let me just give my life up. So I just started eating, drinking, and from the end of March to about June, I probably put on about 25 pounds.
Mhm.
I was drinking all day long, eating terribly. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to live the worst life ever because what's the point of living? And when
Mhm.
my buddy Carlos passed, he was 32 and he died of COVID. He was 500 plus pounds.
Mm.
And he was documenting, like daily, he would hop on Facebook Live and say, hey guys, here's what's happening. Here's how day 10 is, day 12, yada, yada, yada. He was giving us a day by day, blow by blow, what his experience was. And he had zero symptoms besides the breathing. COVID took away your respiratory. And when you have 300 pounds sitting on your chest, you can't breathe normally.
Mm-mm.
And literally, it literally suffocated him out. And after about 3 weeks, his mother passed on a Tuesday. He died on a Wednesday.
Oh my
And it
gosh.
was just like, what? And the gut punch for me was, bro, you've been watching this dude die as you've been killing yourself as well. And
Oh.
it's like, come on, dude. Like what are you doing? What's the outcome you want to leave for those who are going to be left behind when you're gone?
Mm.
And so that was my gut punch was like, yo, I really haven't taken a true go at this. You know, I've been eating terrible for decades. I've only given real attempts for a few weeks at a time. It's like, have I really given myself the option and the opportunity to create something new? So I decided 4th of July would be my last hurrah. I drink, got partied up. And July 5th, I'm going to start a new life. And it was July 5th, 2020, that I said, okay, I dumped out all my alcohol. I emptied my refrigerator of all the bad foods. And I was like, let me just get on a path. And that's what started. I started walking around my apartment building 2 minutes a day. I started doing keto and started getting results.
Mm.
And my church at the time was also stay at home. So we were only doing things online. So about 3 months into it, we started doing some park, some park services. And folks were like, dude, you look different. What are you doing? I was down a shirt size and I was starting to like really experience like some results
Mm.
of the minor changes I was making.
Amazing.
And it was them recognizing that really sparked some motivation. Um, and then long story short, about 5 months into it, the feelings that I thought I would be experiencing weren't there. I was still low-key miserable. I was still depressed. I still hated myself, even though I'm creating results. And it was in that season where I was like, let me really dive into why food
Mm.
has become my comfort. And so it was like, let's go back to the 80s. Let's go back to when I was a kid. Let's go back to ground zero when all the trauma happened. And let's face this thing I've been running from and hiding with food. And it really,
Wow.
so it was like, it was in that experience where I got to heal my heart. And I've discovered like my big thing, I tell people all the time, it's like, we're always taught to focus on food. Food's the easiest part of it all. It's why do you go to food? And once
Yeah,
you figure out that why, if you have the courage to face the why, you get to write a new story.
totally.
So that's what did it.
Wow, that's amazing.
Did you have partnership in getting to the why, or was it really like an inward discovery?
I
You with
picked up a
you.
coach, and I've had tons of counselors over
Mhm.
different seasons of my life. And for the most part, they would just, why are you sad? Okay, well, what do you want to be? Solutions were never discovered. And I got a hold of a guy. They actually found me. My best friend recommended me this guy, like, yo, this guy will help you discover breakthroughs. What's the breakthrough you want
Mhm.
to experience?
Mm.
And to get to the breakthrough, you've got to first face the breakdown.
Yeah.
And what's the list? And most of our breakdowns are all the reasons why we can't. And
Mhm.
so I started having these like And this was an extensive. This was over like a 9-month period of time. This wasn't a weekend, but over this season, it was like, let's look at your whys. Let's look at what you think is possible. Let's look at what you want to create and why you're convinced you can't. And
Right.
there was a lot of work, and throughout the process, the reminder was you get to create. Anything is possible if you can imagine it. You just have to be committed to the work. So it's
Yeah.
really been a heart thing, you know.
Oh, I love hearing that. It's so rare to hear that. And I know that's been also our journey of healing. I don't know if anyone in your family has been obese, but I felt like I've been battling this
Mm.
demon in multi-generational compulsive food addiction.
Yeah,
And it's very real, and it's so refreshing to meet you and hear the
thank you.
perspective that in the lens that you're looking at this through, because I feel really certain diets don't work. Clearly surgeries don't work, pills, injections don't work from my perspective, from my
From my
experience.
perspective as well.
Yeah, to like, because I grew up in the environment of like a mother with a obsessive compulsive eating disorder, and
Mm,
she,
mm,
and then the agony of that, and what you're describing is so familiar to me.
mm. Yeah,
And so I thought, well, I'm gonna like I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a degree in nutrition. I'm gonna become a coach. Like,
mm,
this isn't gonna be me.
yeah, yeah,
And then here Penelope was at over 300 pounds. And I'm like, how is this happening? How is this even possible? But
yeah.
clearly, God wanted us to do something with it, because you also were suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think people like you said, they focus on the food. Now, I love food. I was a master chef. Like, I'm a total foodie.
Mm.
I mean, like, I love food.
You do.
Come on
And
now.
you love
You're
and you yeah, and you love making whole foods that are delicious, which is the
Yeah.
best part,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So good.
Yeah,
So
I'm like,
good.
yeah. I get so excited. It's like really like when I got COVID and my taste buds got taken away, I'm like, this is
mm.
the worst thing ever. I'm
Wow,
like, this
wow.
is like torture.
Yeah,
Um, but I want to be able to like be healthy. And
yeah,
clearly, like, and I don't believe skinny is necessarily healthy, right? But I want to be healthy,
yeah.
and I want to enjoy food. But I know that it's all in here, right? Like, why did the
100%.
weight come on in the first place?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So big. So did you continue with keto? I'm just curious, or did you do something else?
I stayed keto for the first, I'd say about 2 years.
Mm.
Um, about a year into it, the excessive cheese started getting gross. So I
I
kind of
feel
like,
you.
you know what I mean? At
Oh
first,
yeah,
you're
I
like, I can eat all
do.
the cheese I want, but then it was like, this is disgusting. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Too many eggs really can gross you out fast.
it's I, I went I went from keto to cleaner meats, watching my carbs, to going plant based. But don't. I'm not plant based any longer, so don't get excited. That was very. I did plant based for about 6 months. And it was like a reset. It really reset my taste buds. And that's when it's like, yo, now I'm eating. I'm at the cleanest I eat. Fish, chicken. I monitor my dairy, but to me, it's really just been portion side and frequency.
Mm.
My portion sizes are a lot way smaller than they used to be,
Right.
and my choices I feel are better for what I want to do. Now I'm looking at like, what is this food going to help me accomplish
Right.
versus is this just going to satisfy a craving? You know,
Right. Good for you. Wow, you're really deep in it. I mean, 140 pounds. That's like you've lost a whole person.
Yeah.
I
the,
mean,
the here's what I realized: like I'm a murderer. I had to kill the person that was protecting me with food. I had to kill
Mm.
the guy that was like, here, eat this to feel better.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until I murdered that person and buried him that I've been able to walk a new journey. But there's this scene from Lord of the Rings when it's a pivotal scene. I always forget his name. My precious.
yeah.
Um, I always forget. Whenever I bring this story up, I always forget the name. He was leading Frodo and Sam to Mordor, and he has this battle with himself. He loves himself, but he hates himself.
Mm.
And he's experiencing something new with Frodo and Sam, but he can't get away from his old self. And there's this pivotal scene where he's like, look, he's talking to his reflection, and he's like, I need you to die because Master takes care of me now. And this is better for me. And it's one of those things where I had to really look in the mirror like, bro, as scary as this new journey is, I can't have you with me anymore because you're just going to keep pulling me back. And I
Oof.
feel like that's the big, like, I think that most people, and I think addiction runs in anything. Like once you've got to kill the one that's supplying you the thing that's killing you.
Right.
You're not going to
Yeah.
be able to do the new thing at all, you know?
It's so true. I love the way you're contextualizing it. You're just going right to the heart of the matter. I mean, really like diamond sharp. Because I always say that Overeaters Anonymous, like mom was an Overeaters Anonymous. So I kind of felt like I grew up in that methodology. Like the 12-step program was always in the kitchen table. And we
Mm,
used to talk about how, like, it's almost easier. And please forgive me if anyone's listening who is an alcoholic or a Coke addict or a pill addict, but it's almost easier to be one of those types of
mm,
addicts because you just don't, this is off the table. You just don't
yeah,
drink anymore.
yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
with food,
yep.
you do have to confront it every day. And what you're
Mhm,
saying is like next level. It's like I've got to annihilate, well, so you could say annihilate. Although I
yeah,
do believe that we're in a time where we have to like actually integrate, like love that person so much that they can no longer they can no longer exist. It's like, the darkness can't live in the light kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
Like you just actually integrate it so deeply through love that that person, that thing is no longer there.
yeah,
Um I used to like last year even I was thinking about it as like a murderer or annihilation, but like this year I really feel like it's more like integration and love,
hmm,
because that person that you were able to bury taught you stuff. They taught
yeah,
taught you a lot of
Mhm.
stuff,
yeah,
and it could have taken your life, right? It could have killed you if you didn't kill
mhm,
it, right?
yeah,
Have you lost 7 of your friends? I mean, that is tough.
It
yeah,
is. And actually, Ercell, I saw a video of yours that you did on how the 4 body positivity influencers died.
Oh,
And that's actually how I found your account. And then I found out about your story and your message. And I was like, I'm so glad you're talking about this because what I see a lot is people who've never been overweight before talking about overweight people and the body
yeah,
positivity movement. And
yeah,
it's not helpful for the movement
yeah,
or for people that are overweight because they're like, you don't know what it feels like to be overweight. You don't understand me. Why are you even talking about this?
yeah,
But when people like you and I and you talk about it, it's more meaningful because it's like, no, hey, we've been there before, but it's
yeah,
not okay. And I'm
yeah.
really curious how some of your thoughts about body positivity and how it's affected you, or maybe it hasn't affected you, but what you think and feel about it.
Oh, how much time do we have though?
I love this topic. I'm very passionate too. I don't know if you knew that, but I am.
Penelope, let me tell you something. I got my heart broken, and it's like 6 years ago now, maybe 7. I got my heart broken, and there was a weekend when the gal was going to be out here for this big event at our church. And one of my buddies, she was like, Ercell, look, you need to show her that you're over her. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go shopping. And I'm like, we're going to do what? We're going to shop. We're going to shop. This is going to mend my broken heart and embarrassment and my pain. We're going to get a new shirt. And I got some new shirts. We got some jeans. We went and got them tailored to fit my figure better. And we showed up to this church conference. And I'm like, I'm gonna show her what she missed out on. Got a clean, fresh lineup on my beard. And I was very visually like I cleaned up very well. So I was looking incredible for a fat dude. And I remember that whole weekend, folks like, I see you, Urs. Okay, I see you. And on the inside, I was terrified, embarrassed, humiliated, frustrated, sad. I was jealous. Like all the feelings were still there, but the outfit was on point. And it
Mm,
was like, huh, well, if I just pretend all is well, who no one's gonna know unless I tell them that there's still a fire going on inside. And so I took on this idea of let me just put on the costume of confidence. Let me put on the costume of belief. Let me put on the costume. And I noticed that whenever I'd post pictures on my IG, I'd start putting self-love and love yourself and body positive. And all of a sudden, I started getting these people like, "Yeah, you go, big guy, you do it. I don't know who you are, but I love you because you're representing." And I'm like, if these folk only knew, it's a lie. But then I started believing that lie, and it's one of those things where, like in theory, I think body positivity is beautiful. The theory of it is like, hell yeah, like yes, accept yourself, love yourself, embrace yourself. You are enough. I think where it becomes misleading is you should love yourself to do something better with yourself. Love is something that grows, develops, and changes. You know, you ask a couple that's been married for 25 years, their love is different in this season of their life. And they've had to learn, like, wow, like the love we started off with kind of expired. We had to work on it. We had to develop it. And I feel like body positivity says, nope, stay as you are, you're perfect. And when would you ever tell somebody in a coma, like if a doctor came up and said, hey, guess what? You're perfect as you are, they'd say, we've got to find a new hospital because my loved one's gonna die. Yet we tell fat folk, no, 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 no. You're perfect as you are on your oxygen and your blood pressure medication and your poor knees and the self-hatred you have for yourself. Let's not talk about that. Just put on some lipstick. And I feel like it's such a deadly movement because those who don't have health issues cheer on those who do to say the same. And that's my issue with it. Like, I don't know what are your thoughts? I'm really curious to hear what you think.
Finally, some sanity. Like
Yeah.
I'm so grateful. When Penelope first cued me into the body positivity movement, I didn't believe her. I'm like, that's not a thing.
She literally didn't believe me. And then I showed her all
Yeah.
the content and she was like, Penelope, this is a joke, right? And I'm like, no, mom, this is real life.
Yeah. And I love the analogies you used.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
you're teaching me so much,
I
by the
love
way,
it.
Ercell. I
Thank
love
you.
the way
Thank you.
your frame around the body positivity movement is excellent. Your frame
Thank
around
you.
weight loss is excellent.
And your voice is just like butter. Like it just
Come
like
on now.
so it's no, it's it's so easy to listen to. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
And the way you story tell, it's really engaging. And I have to say, I agree with you 100% on body positivity because when I was overweight, I literally saw the content on my social media. It's
Mm,
okay to be overweight. It's good for you. It's amazing. You're beautiful. Go, girl. And I thought, oh, okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with me. I can be
yep.
300 pounds and keep eating junk food and sit on my phone and not work out and be overweight and walk up the steps and struggle breathing. But it's fine. Everyone says it's fine.
Yep.
My doctors told me it was fine. My therapist told me it was fine. My friends told me it was fine. They fed me junk food. We ate it
Mm,
together, but they were skinny and I was fat and I was
yeah.
disgusting and just getting more disgusting and they would just get skinnier.
Yeah.
And it was just like a game and I didn't know anyone was playing it on me.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And I felt
Wow.
really
That's
lied
deep. That's
to.
deep. Wow.
And I had to
Yeah.
learn through the agony of being obese and in COVID actually being stuck with my image every day and my
Mm,
body, being like, oh my gosh, I actually feel so sick. I actually can't function like a normal person anymore. I can't even go to the grocery store anymore
mm,
because I'm too scared to leave my house.
yeah.
Even though I want to post selfies like this and think I'm all cute, but I actually don't even want to leave the house. And that's
Mm,
the thing that people don't talk about because it's like you see these obese people at home making the
yep.
content about love your body. They're not really going out. They're
Yep.
not really doing things. And they say, oh, it's because I'm going to get fat shamed. I don't even know if fat shaming is really that bad of a thing anymore because I
Not.
think if we say nothing and we only say positivity, we're not helping the movement and we're not changing things. We're just telling everyone, oh, it's okay. It's good. It's fine.
But it's like another disease. I remember Penelope was in therapy because I didn't know what to do. So we had her at the therapist on Tuesdays. We had her in group therapy on Wednesdays. We had, it just
Mm,
went on. I was like $1,200 a month. I was like, I don't know how to do this. But I remember talking to the therapist and saying like, what's going on here? And she's like, you have to stop talking about it. And I'm like, what do you
oh, wow.
mean? Like, I can't stop talking about it. I'm the enabler. I'm
Yeah.
the one who's buying the fudge and the ice cream
Yeah.
and the burgers. And, like how it was
Mm,
so challenging. But for us, I had to also come to terms with some of my ghosts
mm,
and some of the skeletons in my closet
mm,
that I was, it was really challenging. Like, how do you enable somebody in their obesity and accept them
yeah.
and still want it to change? Like, how do you hold those three things? And it felt impossible at the time. I felt really helpless, and I
Yeah.
was, and I also go to church. I believe in God, and it was really, you know,
Amen.
like on my knees, like praying to God, like
Mhm.
like I need a miracle. I called on my dead mother. I was like, "Mom, I need a miracle." I was really at my wit's end, and that's when Penelope actually at age 11, she wanted to create this thing called Step It Up
Oh,
because we
wow.
saw a lot of people starting, but and it was always kind of there, looming in the background, but it wasn't until she hit puberty that it just really tipped over the edge. But this body positivity movement and I had no idea how much it impacted Penelope and how much I didn't understand why she thought it was okay and why the doctors thought it was okay. The
Mm,
therapist thought it was okay, why I wasn't allowed to talk about it. And so that's kind of when this, I guess I mean, I'm a pro body positivity person, but when you look in the media, I guess I'm a body positivity antagonist.
hmm,
I would say
hmm.
we're pro longevity. That's
Pro
what I like to
health.
say. We're pro health
100%.
and pro
Wha-
longevity.
Yeah. It's it's interesting that in a day and age where definitions are being changed, where words are now having different meaning, we have created now health and beauty are a synonym
Mm,
versus being a result. And I
mm.
feel that I'll be honest, there is nothing more fun, more sexier than a woman with curves. A thick woman, my gosh. What's your ring size? But here's the thing, when your thickness is in your arteries,
Mm.
when your thickness goes to your kneecaps, when your blood doesn't circulate, when your thickness causes blood clots, when you can't breathe, that beauty now becomes like a wait a second, you're nice to look at, but you're not nice to do life with. And it's you nailed it, Penelope. Folks will hang out alone and have this movement. I was the guy that was by himself, loving his life alone. Because it's like the truth is, it was embarrassing to eat in public because I wanted to eat more than the normal person. Like my friends would be ordering dessert, and I'm still finishing my second appetizer, waiting for my entree to come. They're like, "Urs, do you need the whole pizza?" So it's like I became that private living person. And the sad thing is, you mentioned fat shaming. It's like, no, like fat shaming, I don't believe it exists. I just believe people are listening to how they feel about themselves and blaming it on the world.
Yeah.
And it's like, take responsibility for how you feel about you. It's not my fault you hate yourself.
Yep.
And I feel
Mm.
that's the message. Like, here's what's sad. You look in these comments, and this is what hurts my heart the most. Like, I follow some of these influencers, and I've learned I can't really say anything because the moment I do, I'm blocked or banned.
I'm
Like, you
literally
can't
blocked. Oh my
you
gosh.
can't
Ercell.
say a word to these fat folk about anything, but you're great.
Exactly. You should have seen the DMs I got reaching out to people. It was just like
Yeah,
F you, F you, F
yep.
you. And
Yeah.
I was like, yo, I didn't even say anything about weight loss to you. And you already told me, okay.
We
It's
literally reached out to hundreds of people.
In the body positivity movement, body positive influencers. And I was like, I'd love to talk about body positivity
Mhm.
and learn about the movement. And they were like, blocked, F you, I hate
Yep,
you.
Reported
yep.
Reported for
multiple
spam.
times.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating, but we got to stand in the truth and also engage
Mhm.
in conversations with people who disagree with us,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and try to just be spokespeople, so to say, for our orientation, so to say.
Yep.
100%.
So now you're like, it sounds like you're gosh, moderation is such a naughty word. I don't like that word. But sounds like you're kind of in moderation and you found a lifestyle that you love living,
Yeah,
you're inspired to live.
yeah. I I I fell off. So I got to a space where things were going great, and I produce videos. I'm a content marketer by trade, and then I do TV and film as passion. I got this project right where I had the greatest momentum going, and I got this project that took me out of California. And my best friend was like, "I'll admit it now, Jonathan, you were right." Like he was like, "Don't go, don't do this project. It's gonna kill your momentum. You're killing it right now." I go relocate, and in the process of those 6 months being away, fell off of everything.
Oh,
Mainly my eating. Exercising was good. Eating fell off. So I fell off and probably put on 40, 50 pounds. Let's just say 40, 50. That was last little over a year ago.
mm,
So the last year and a half has been let's do the reset and get back on track. And now I'm back to a place where I've hit the mark and I'm below where I was. And the activity momentum I've been experiencing in this season has just been phenomenal.
Nice.
I was the dude that because I was fat, I convinced myself I couldn't do the thing and I wouldn't try to do the thing.
Mm.
So from running to playing basketball to engaging in intramurals at high school to trying to hit weights, I was like, nope, this is not an option for me. So in this season of my life, I've been like, yo, let's just see what this body can do. It's
Nice.
it's cool to lose the weight, but now let me build some muscle. Let me go get as active like last year I ran 9 5Ks. Right now I'm training for a half marathon in April.
Oh my gosh.
And it's one of these things where watching my body transform and develop has just been the most nuts thing for me.
Oh, I
And
love
and
that.
seriously, it's a I tell everybody that's on a workout plan, spend time every day and just look at yourself in the mirror when you get out of the shower. Before you dress yourself, just look at yourself and
Mm.
take into account what's happening. And one day you're going to start seeing divots and you're going to start seeing contour change. You're going to start seeing a frame come out of that round figure you've been looking at all your life. And for me, it's been like this new breath of, bro, it's working. So now it's like my mission is let's just see what this thing can do and what it can become.
Ah,
So this is the best I've been as far as active, as far as athletic, as far as whatever. I'm at the top of my game where I've ever been. So it's this season of my life has been incredible, absolutely incredible.
Mm.
that's so
Yeah,
exciting. I'm like tearing up over
real
Oh.
here
talk.
because I know the power of the human body, then the
Mm,
resilient nature of it. Doesn't matter how old you are, how long you've been overweight, how damaged you think you are. Like I've seen so many miracles
mm,
happen with cancer reversal, diabetes
yeah,
reversal, heart disease reversal, weight loss, skin rejuvenation, Lyme's disease. People who, people completely can transform their and renew their minds and their
yeah,
cells.
yeah,
It is so, so exciting. So just like it's incredible work. I'm really into movement.
yeah.
For me, it's become a way to regulate my emotions, to move my emotions. And I remember you had a period, Penelope, where you were just working with your emotions. I think you lost 6 pounds that week,
Mhm.
Oh,
just from like
really?
Yeah.
Tell
just
me
from
more.
getting to
I just forced myself to work out every day, and I'd cry every day because it was so hard and it was so intense and it just felt impossible. Every move felt impossible because carrying so much weight, I mean, like you said,
Mm,
we're carrying another human being on our backs,
right?
really.
Yeah,
And it felt impossible to do anything, even to bend down, to pick something up, to walk was really hard, and I would just cry every day, but I do the full workout. I would do my markings, for the size I was, but it after I always felt better, and it
yeah,
was always like I can do anything for an hour and I know I'm gonna feel better afterwards, and I
yeah.
just know it, and I cried a lot.
yeah, you had this intention of really digging deep. And when we're exercising, all of us, we get confronted. There's a moment where it's really uncomfortable
Yeah,
and you're like you're up against it, and that's when you can watch what's going on in your mind.
yeah,
And it's usually like for me it's like escape. I'm out. I'm going to get
yeah,
distracted. I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to exit stage left.
yeah.
For other people it's criticism,
Mm,
judgment, bullying themselves. Like it's like that, like you're not good enough, you could do this, you couldn't do that, all that stuff.
I did that for sure. I was like, "I'm fat, I'm ugly, I'm disgusting, I hate
mm,
myself, I can't do this." I definitely did that.
And then it's like taking that dialogue, whatever it is,
yeah,
staying there, staying in the discomfort of it, and then like I wasn't pushing through, but like staying there and breathing through it, sounding through it, and like
mm.
intentionally. So it was through that intention and through that process. And then you also, I don't know if this is true for you. I'm actually kind of curious. Do you think that people who gain a lot of weight, who become obese, are also really empathetic people? Like they really take on maybe even codependent, or like really taking on like the concerns of others. Do you think that that's true?
Um, my nature has always been people. I've always had a heart for people. And so I know that part of I'm gonna if you're sad, I'm sad with you.
Yeah.
If you're happy, I'm happy with you. And
Yeah.
I would take it to the extreme of, oh, if you're celebrating, I'm ordering myself a pizza too, so we can celebrate together.
I did that.
Um,
My mom was
it's
like that.
a
Mhm.
it's a very like relationally with and honestly, that's really been the the ripple effect. You know, the first thing I had to realize was this has to be for me
Mm,
and my relationship with me. But then it's like I think about my nephew Jazz, and this kid is 5 years old, and he's a tank.
mm,
He's I want to say he's all stone. And now when I'm at the gym, I'm like, this is not just for me. This is so I can still play with Jazz and
mm.
play with Jazz better.
Yeah.
This is I've had like God has blessed me with the new group of baby nieces and nephews. My original five, they're all in college now, and they don't have memories of their Uncle Fun actually having. They call me Uncle Fun. I'm not sure why, because I didn't play with them. I was always sitting. I would feed them, but the activity space, we'd play for 20 minutes, and I'd go sit down because I was out of breath. I feel
Yeah.
Mm,
like God is like, yo, dude, now that you're buying into what I have for you, I'm going to give you another chance to experience the things you've missed out on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tell people all the time, like there's a life that you get to create when you bet on yourself first.
Oh.
And it's a there's a saying you've got to play the cards you're dealt. And I think that's BS. It's like because you I don't think we realize we have control of the entire deck. If you don't like this
mm,
card, muck it and say deal me another set because you get to create it. And I think it's the belief of that if people had that and wouldn't deny that, I think they'd get to create something better versus saying I'm perfect as I am. It's like no, like muck that seven deuce. Wait for pocket aces. They're coming, and when those pocket aces come, play them. You know, but we have this idea that nope, nothing's going to change. So let me just make the best of it and be miserable versus taking a risk. So
Yeah. People are convinced that their genetic predisposition it dictates their outcomes. I mean,
sadly,
I'm a testament to say that's absolutely not true. You can change your gut microbiome and the microbiota that get created through that fermentation process. You can change your taste buds. You can change your brain.
yeah,
Maybe I was born with a brain that is predisposed to being addictive, but I can also shift that
yeah,
neurobiology.
100%.
And so the 6 pounds that you lost that week, Penelope, was really when you reconciled. I remember this. You reconciled, like, I'm not taking on things from other people.
mhm,
I'm carrying weight from, Sarah or Sam or Joe or all the people that you had been kind of feeding off of you energetically. And you were like, no, I'm sending that back to God. Like,
Mm,
that's not my job. That's not my, so I remember you went through a process
yep,
through the workouts intentionally, like I
mhm,
described earlier, but also like you're describing yourself, they're similar. I think we're carrying stuff sometimes for other people, our
yeah,
parents, our nephews, our nieces, and I also agree. Like when I think about my exercise, I'm like, I want to be able to like help Penelope with her kids. I want to be there for my grandchildren and so on and so forth for sure. But I think that active process of like letting go of things that we're carrying for other people
yeah,
is critical in the weight loss journey.
yeah.
100%.
That was the 6 pounds.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and then we're also not born fat. I hear a lot of people be like, "I was born fat. You
Yeah,
know, I have the fat gene. I can't lose the weight." And it's like that's not true. And you telling your body and your cells that is only going to harm you. It's not going to
yeah,
help you. So we
yeah.
have to teach people to get out of the mindset of this is what I was born with. This is me for the rest of my life. Because being a victim of the situation you're in isn't going to get you anywhere.
Never, never does.
Mm-mm. No,
I
but I believe we can change our brains. Go ahead, Ercel.
no, I used to as a kid, especially during high school, my prayer was like, help them to discover this rare disease that causes all this fat and help them to
Yeah.
then discover the magic pill that's gonna cure it. And it's like I realize I think a lot of people like I don't think there's anything special about that. I think a lot of people trick themselves into thinking there's nothing I can do. Only a miracle is gonna make the change. And like what are your thoughts when it comes to the pressure of taking the risk to change? For me, it was like I knew for like when it hit me that I'm gonna have to leave this world behind. That's when I always would get reluctant to stop. Like for me, it's like making this life change means I can't go to this bar anymore. which means I can't see so and so and so and so and so and so. I can't go to this restaurant anymore. I can't. And there was all this fear around it. Like, did you ever experience that type of the fear of literally breaking away to discover something new?
Yeah, I lost all my friends. I deleted social media for 2 years,
Mm,
and I was really, really lonely. It was, like, the
mm,
most lonely 2 years of my life because before I lost the weight, I was doing the yo-yo dieting. I
yeah,
would, eat a lot of food and then, like, throw it all up. I wouldn't eat for
yeah,
2 weeks. I'd just drink water. I It was a really dark battle because like you said, you're murdering someone. Like,
mm,
you're murdering another part of you,
yeah,
and I had to murder somebody who was comforting me where
yeah,
play in places no one else was. No one
yeah.
else knew how to comfort me.
Mhm,
And then I had to be alone and
mm,
realize that I had so many issues with my father, with my friends that I had at the time. Like, I had all these problems because I was running away from everything and going to food. So when I gave up food, I had to face, oh, you got to heal that.
yeah,
Oh, it's not their fault anymore. You need to take accountability for
mm,
what you can control, and you can't live your life blaming everyone else. I
yeah,
always promised myself I was never going to be the 24-year-old who was whining about their mom and dad, to their friends, because that's just lame. That's so lame to be somebody who is a victim of circumstances that they can't control that happened for a reason. And so I had to get into the I get to mindset instead of the I
yeah.
have to mindset. And instead of
100%.
it's happening to me, it's happening for me.
Yeah.
And that was very deep and very hard because nobody else was telling me. My therapists weren't telling me all of these things. I had
Mhm.
to find out on my own, alone. I was self-harming. I wanted to kill myself. I was anxious and depressed, and I had to, move away from smoking weed and moving away from nicotine and finding it in myself and in
Yeah,
my cells and in my physical body to get away from all of that and move into God and really
yeah.
figure out, I have to do this every day. I'm the only person I can rely on. I cannot rely on anyone else
Hmm.
but myself.
Yeah.
So that's a long answer to your
No, no, no,
question.
that's I think the phrase "no one's coming to save you" is it used to be scary, and I'm not gonna lie, there are times where I find myself in a breakdown, like, "How am I going to get out of this?" And it's like, well, I can choose to stay in this moment, or I can push through. For me, fight or flight is something that's always on the table, and I've discovered that everything I need to get to the next phase I have in me. I just have to be willing to go through the breakdown to discover it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like I think that's the fix. Like I tell all my fat friends, like, look, you're making this about mealtime, and it has nothing to do with mealtime. And once you convince yourself that the real breakthrough is beyond the table and out of the kitchen, you're gonna experience something that's bigger than you could have imagined. And that's really been my fuel. Like, yo, no one's coming to save you. Choose yourself, and what you can create is better than what anybody could hand you.
So, so powerful. I think that most people don't make changes until they're confronted with something like you were with 7 deaths. You were
Yeah.
literally, I'm going to kill myself or I'm going to die. It's one of those two things is going to happen. It's going to
Mhm.
happen soon.
Yeah.
And I think for me, having family members who died young,
Mhm.
it was a decision, right? It's uncomfortable, and I
Yeah.
I I know I pride myself in a way of getting uncomfortable enough, frequently enough, so that I can develop that kind of resilience. But most
Yeah.
people I meet are not like that, and they're going to get away with as much as they can for as
Mhm.
long as they can. And
100%.
listen, I'm not outside of that equation, right? I speed. Right now, I've got a buckwheat pizza dough rising in the air
Mhm.
fryer. So how much cheese can I use? Vegan
Yeah.
cheese, hemp cheese, not even cashew, right? But I mean, like, but we're all like in that dance,
Yeah. Yeah.
How much can I get away with? I mean, I tried to outrun my fork, right? Like,
Mm,
how much can I
mm,
eat and exercise so that like it's constant. So I'm not talking
100%.
about it like it's not me because it
Yeah.
is. It's 100% me, and I just start to make more and more peace with it over time. But, carrying around excess weight, usually people just they're like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah.
And they don't realize, like, how much of a burden on society it is, how much it's
Mhm.
costing them or us or it. It's just, unfortunately, we don't usually take action until there's some kind of desperation.
Yeah. Here's what's crazy. I was thinking, like, I was with family back in August, And we were hanging out talking, and my sister was like, dude, I want to let you know how proud I am of where you've come. And I started thinking about when we were kids. And what really hit me was like, the life that you create can either give somebody value or it can rob them of their experience. And growing up, I remember we would do these activities where we'd go out, and I would remember my sister could not really be present with her group of friends because she had to always make sure her fat little brother wasn't getting picked on for being fat. So she
Mm.
was always close by. She was always leaning in. She was always making sure because you can't hurt baby brother. Same thing with my older brother. They lived their life in a space where they were protecting me when we left the home, and they were pissed off at me at home because I'd eat all the snacks. And there was this duality of like, we love you, dude, and we want the best for you, but you also are kind of making our personal life a little miserable. And so it's like the space of like, you really do impact people with your lifestyle the entire time. And it's like, you get like, if you die early, low key, you kind of get the easy way out. And now your life, your family is left with this mess you created. And it's like, what's the example you're leaving behind? And it's like, for me, it's like, I bring it back to the body positivity. It's like, I saw a post the other day of this gal was like, when somebody goes, they don't talk about what they look like or what their dresses were like or how they acted or what they remember for the person that you are. And I commented, you're right. I've never been reminiscing on somebody said, man, they were really fat in that dress. But here's the thing about it, like, they remember you for who you are. Who were you? You were the one that didn't take care of themselves. You're the
Mm.
one that ignored your health. You're the one that said it's okay to treat your body this way, and now you're gone. And that's what you've left behind. And I feel like that's the key factor that I think if we really look into that, it really becomes a space of like, I believe God created us to live for others. Like, my job with my gifts is not to serve myself, it's to serve you.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
feel that it's a very one-way approach to now it becomes about me, 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 me versus
Yeah.
how can I impact your life for the better?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel that movement is it's so sad because you don't have people that want to add value. They just want to take, take, take. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and Ercell, you should know there is a nonprofit organization called NAFA, and they have a page on their website for fat people. It's called the National Association to Advance Fat Acceptance. You heard that right. And they have a page on their website that tells you how to plan for your fat family or relatives' death. Basically,
Wow.
like you need to get bigger tombstones, you know, how to prepare, how to mentally prepare your family for your death. Like if it's okay, like
Mm,
we have to accept that you're dying because you're
yeah.
fat, a completely preventable disease,
Yeah.
and we have to just accept it. And this is good that you just mentioned how important it is that we dive into that
Yeah.
because you will be remembered for the fact that you didn't take care of yourself like you said, and
Mhm.
there is this large community that is supporting that, and that to me is supporting murder
Yeah.
and suicide. You're
Yeah.
supporting suicide. You are.
Mhm.
And I would like to put an end to that community for
Mm.
doing that. I'd like to end their
With you.
nonprofit
Yeah.
organization and stop it because it's not okay. I want all of those overweight people in that organization to get help to heal
100%.
themselves, and they have to want to,
Yeah.
right? I can't force them, but I want them to heal themselves and
Yeah.
not accept fat death ever,
Mhm.
because your mom died from obesity. I never got to meet my grandma because she died
Mhm.
from obesity. I could have died from obesity. You could have died from obesity.
Yeah.
Your 7 friends died from obesity, and we shouldn't accept it. We don't have to accept
100%.
it,
Yeah.
and we can change it.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful that you're part of that change,
My
and
gosh, me too. Woo.
I'm so
Thank
grateful that
you.
you have some common sense around it, that you're on a
Yeah,
journey.
he's
It's
got the
Yeah.
courage to speak up about it. Like,
yeah,
I literally felt like crying like 7 times during this interview. And I haven't been like overly emotional today, but like so many things are hitting home.
yeah.
Hey,
I'm
the
like,
book and the movie is coming soon, so it's gonna
okay,
be a
perfect.
tearjerker. I promise.
I
It's gonna
love
be
it. I love it.
Good,
That's amazing. I want to know
good.
all about it.
Me too.
Um, but I'm curious, like you've been describing your childhood as obese, similar to mine. And I'm just wondering, how do you hold the belief so strongly in something that you actually doesn't sound like you've ever experienced?
as far as what the not being
Like,
fat.
yeah.
Here's the here's what's crazy. I can now imagine myself healthy in my head.
Mhm.
I realize that decisions are instant. And so when all this started, I decided I'm healthy, I'm successful, I'm not on medication. I run every day. I'm active. I eat well. And I made up my mind I'm going to live this way immediately. And I'm now going to give my body permission to go on its own journey. And I'm not going to rush it. I'm not going to look at the calendar. I'm not going to look at my watch, but I'm going to live the way I see myself in the future. And so to me, there's an optimism that I experience every morning I wake up. There were times I'd wake up in the morning. Like one time I woke up and I thought I was being choked to death. And I
Oh,
literally woke up like, "Rah!" Like thinking I need to fight this person off of me. And it
wow.
was me. It was my chest had slid on my neck and it was my breasts choking me. And I'm just like, what? And it hit me like I'm the guy. It's me. And so now it's like I get to be the guy that creates and is gonna do something different. So for me, it's like there's the like every day is my smallest day ever now, where it used to be every day is my fattest day. And I can't wait to wake up and see what my new body's gonna do tomorrow. And that's been what has kept me excited and curious about this thing. Like one day I was in the shower and I'm like, what is this weird sensation on my thighs? And I'm like, oh, it's water because now my stomach isn't covering my legs and now the water can run down my entire body and I
Right.
can experience a normal shower like normal people experience a shower. And
Mm.
it's been those little things that you don't even realize you're missing out on. Like when the discovery comes, it's like, holy cow, this is just what a normal morning shower feels like.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
me, life is brand spanking new every day because of what I'm doing right now. I know
Right.
tomorrow's gonna kick ass. So it's
I
like
love it. I love it.
that's what's kept me so excited in this season because you're right. Like I have no idea. Like people say, what's your goal weight? I'm like, right now, let me just get off these meds. Once I'm off the meds, then it's like, okay, now we can aim towards a body. I've never been at a healthy body size. So it's like, but I will be. And I'm
Yes.
very, very curious to see what that's gonna feel like. So yeah,
Yes.
Amazing.
that's what keeps
Amazing.
me going.
I just have to say, I relate to that. Even this morning in my workout, I was like,
Mm,
I'm so grateful to be able to do this jumping jack because I remember when I couldn't do this jumping
Yeah.
jack and how
yep,
hard it was. And so the ability to wake up and breathe fully and not have my shoulders on my laps, a
mm.
shoulder on my fat lap that I had that I didn't even know I had, because it was just so normal to me to put my arms on my fat like it was an armrest
Like it was a
in
tray.
bed, like it was a
Yep,
tray,
yep.
like it was a tray. Oh my gosh, I remember a food fell on my stomach and I just picked it up like that was normal. That is not normal. I had no idea. But just the gratitude for our bodies and what it can do, like you're saying,
Yeah,
is something that's so special. And you realize, like, wow, this is what normal people can do. Like, I remember that feeling,
mm,
like, wow, I even have it today. Like, wow, I can do a jumping jack. Like,
yeah,
wow, I still remember how hard that used to be. So,
yeah.
Well, I feel like this was a great like introductory conversation. I feel like there's like four more conversations I want to have with you, digging deep into plateaus, into sliding back, sliding forward,
Mhm.
like all these things. Because I'd like to get into like more nitty gritty. If you'd be willing to, I would love
Let's
to
do it.
have
Let's do it. My
subsequent
my my
conversations.
mission is to have the conversation. Like there's enough people saying stay as you are, you're perfect. There needs to be a conversation. Nope, you're not perfect, but you can become. Let's talk about it. So let's
Yeah.
do
absolutely.
it.
How far are you from the LA area? I don't know California very
Um
well.
on maps, it's about 62 miles, but
Oh,
so it's technically only really a 33-minute drive. But here in California, the southern area, it can be anywhere from an hour to 7 weeks, depending on traffic. So LA is one of those things where you have to pick and choose when
the
you
time.
go. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's right down the road.
Well, I'm just envisioning like a panel of body positivity fanatics and us three, and like us just like having a really meaningful conversation. We don't have enough equipment for that at this time, but I mean, I have this like idea because, like, you're just this strong, masculine voice that's courageous and clear. And I just feel like, we could really use more of that.
We
I,
could.
I agree,
Yeah.
and I want to be that voice, 100%.
You are that
Amazing. You
voice.
are that voice. You are. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to talk about before we wrap on this?
No, I would just love to have you on again one
Yeah.
day. I'm so grateful that you came on, and I'd love it if you could tell everyone where they can follow you and, interact with you and message you and just learn more about you.
Yeah.
Um, I'm most active on Instagram. So my it's my first and first middle name Ercell Ivanhoe. all one across, no underscores or anything like that. And yeah, I'm all about the message. I'm all about, message me, DM me, let's talk. My thing is, if I get to see people have breakthroughs. Like, there's a lot of cool people I've met on Instagram who are starting to discover the value of themselves. And so
Mm,
I invite any and everyone, come, let's do this thing. And if I can be a voice of inspiration, motivation, I'd love to get to be a part of your journey. 100%.
amazing. Wow,
Amazing.
amazing.
Wow.
All right, we'll do our after.
All right. Well, to be continued.
Yeah,
We will
Yes.
be in touch, and I'm so grateful that we got to meet you and
me
spend time
too.
with you.
Thank you so
And
much.
thank you for your high production value too. Your excellent
Oh
lighting,
yeah.
sound, and
I'm a video producer, so I mean, this is what I do. So yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
yeah. And are you actively working on a film? Is that what I understood?
I'm always working on a film. Right now I'm working on a documentary called 100 Pounds Away, and it's really
Wow.
just picking up my story to tell. Like, I've been capturing all this stuff over the last few years, and now it's like, okay, let's tell this story. Now that the new life has been discovered, so yeah,
Nice.
that's what's happening right now.
We've been thinking about how interesting it would be to do one about body positivity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's definitely going to be that's who we're throwing rocks at. Let's be very, very clear. We need to burn that whole movement down.
We do.
We need to burn it
100%.
down. So that's the
100%.
mission. 100%.
Yep. I'm here to burn it down, and I'm here to burn down NAFA. So we should talk. You,
Yes.
I really, Ercell, though, I would love to talk to you more about that in the DMs too, because it's a really big organization run by some people and funded by some influencers that are really
Mm,
famous that are like really promoting it, and it's
wow.
really harming people.
And just to understand clearly, just to switch topics, are you like hired as a coach? And you work one on one, or film production is your main thing, or like what is your?
That's a really great question. I have people I work with. Um, right now, the space that I'm in is to be a motivator.
Okay.
So I have folks that I speak to daily, and we're tracking what they're doing. There are folks that I speak weekly. There's a few video calls I hop on monthly where I'm speaking to different groups. So anything I can do to help you change your idea about yourself, I'm willing to do.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah,
great. Yeah, I
100%.
just want to understand, like, because we get a lot of people come to us. We're not always the best fit for them,
Mm,
our message, our tone. And so I was just trying to like envision who is the best fit
yeah,
and like like, what you're up to and where you want more service, like where you want
yeah.
to have more circulation or energy flowing. So yeah, thank
Yeah,
you for that.
truthfully, my ideal person doesn't need to lose 30 pounds.
Like
My
300
ideal
pounds.
person is 350 pounds, well into their life, and who has completely decided they can't do the thing they need to do.
Oh, bless
And
you.
so
Bless you.
So
that's my avatar,
Mm.
because
so beautiful.
that was me. And it's like, what am I going to tell a 23-year-old that can outrun me sitting down? Like, nothing. But
Yeah.
the guy that looks like me, the guy that sounds like me, the guy that is as heavy as me and has experienced my heaviest, is like, dude, the father that can't chase his kids around,
Yeah.
the wife that can only fry things for dinner. It's like, those are the people I really want to impact, because I believe that they get to experience the biggest joy when they create something new. Yeah.
Wow.
I call them lifelong fatties. Is that wrong? Can you say that on the
No,
podcast?
no, I love it. That's great. That's great.
I'm looking
Fatties.
around like, is that okay? Where are you gonna
That's
get
no,
by?
that's
If you're a lifelong
that's what I like to
fatty, I'm your guy.
say. Okay. You're a lifelong fatty or
Yeah.
sells the guy.
If this is something that you've just been, kind of moonlighting, I don't think I have anything for you. But if this has been something you've been a part of, let's chat. Let's chat.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sending you a big hug from over here. We're in
I receive it. I receive it.
okay. We'll talk soon. Be
Thank you
well.
so much.
Talk soon. Be
Take care.
well.
Take care.